Marcus didn't grow up poor, but he didn't grow up prepared either. School taught him algebra and poetry, but not how to face rejection, not how to pay rent when your startup fails, not how to eat when your bank account reads zero. He was a quiet dreamer, more at home in libraries than in loud rooms. Someone who believed that hard work and talent would be enough. But life had its own curriculum. After graduating with honors in computer science, Marcus poured his savings into a startup with two friends. They promised the world a smart learning app. Investors showed interest, but when the prototype failed and bugs piled up, the partners bailed. Marcus was left with the code, the debt, and the guilt. Within months, he was evicted. Within weeks, he was sleeping behind a bookstore under cardboard sheets, hiding from the cold and his own shame. The nights were the hardest not because of the cold, but because of the silence. No phones ringing, no emails, just thoughts. Endless, painful thoughts. He would stare up at the sky through the cracks of an old wooden pallet, wondering, how did I go from being someone full of promise to this? But Marcus never let go of one small ritual every night before he lay down. He wrote something in a beat-up notebook he kept inside his jacket. Quote, a lesson, an idea, or even a single word that reminded him who he used to be. One day, while waiting outside the library to get on a computer, Marcus saw an old man drop his grocery bag. People walked by, but a boy, maybe 10 years old, ran across the street, gathered every apple, smiled, and handed the bag back. The old man chuckled, patted the boy's head, and gave him a chocolate bar in return. Marcus watched this, heart still. He whispered to himself, there's still good in this world. Maybe I can still be part of it. That day, something in him cracked open, not with rage, but with warmth. He realized he hadn't smiled in weeks. He'd been surviving, not living. And now he wanted more than survival. He wanted redemption not just in the eyes of the world, but in his own. That same week, while helping a street vendor move crates in exchange for lunch, he noticed how few customers stopped. The vendor complained, people don't see me anymore. They just walk past. That sentence lit a fuse. What if vendors like him could be seen, but digitally? Marcus began working on a tool he called Pulsey Carton app that allowed local vendors to create quick deals and auto-broadcast them to nearby phones without needing a website or tech skills. He coded it bit by bit on library computers, sometimes getting kicked out at closing time, his stomach empty but his brain on fire. It wasn't smooth. He broke the code 3 times, lost the first version, missed days due to sickness and hunger. At one point, he found a dollar bill in the gutter and had to choose between a sandwich and a new notebook. He chose the notebook. Months passed. Then, he convinced one fruit vendor, Joseph, the same man whose crates he once carried, to try postcard. Business doubled in a week, tripled in 2. Other vendors started asking questions. Word spread. Soon, Marcus was setting up QR posters, training small shopkeepers in broken shoes and with eyes burning from sleepless nights. Then came the investor emails, the media articles, the conference invites. But even with 1 million users and an app, that was now helping lift entire communities out of poverty, Marcus still refused to move into luxury. He lived in a modest apartment, still walked to the same bookstore where he once slept, and still wrote in that same old notebook. Years later, a journalist asked him, "What's the one thing that kept you going when you had no one?" Marcus didn't pause. He said, "It was one night when I was sick, broke, lying on concrete. I started coughing so bad, I thought I wouldn't wake up. And a homeless man, someone who had even less than me, gave me his only blanket. He didn't say a word, just covered me and walked away. That moment taught me more than any classroom ever did." He paused, wiping his eyes. "So I promised myself, if I survive this, I'll build something that helps the forgotten be seen." Today, Postcard operates in 11 countries, empowering street vendors, artisans, and micro businesses. Marcus is now a billionaire in wealth, yes, but also in impact. His name appears in magazines. His speeches draw thousands, but he's still the man who never forgot the streetlight he studied under. He visits that alley once a year, not to remember the pain, but to honor the persistence. A bronze plaque now hangs on the wall behind the bookstore. It reads, "This is where it began. Not with money, not with luck,